Good day and welcome back to A Chapter a Day. It is Sunday, March the 3rd, and we will be reading chapter 12 of Exodus. So yesterday we finished up chapter 11 and we know that the showdown is coming to an end. So let's see what takes place. Chapter 12. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts of the upper doorpost of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire his head with his legs, and with the purtenance thereof. And you shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning you shall burn with fire. And thus shall you eat it, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And you shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you, when I smite the land of Egypt. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and you shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. You shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. 7 days shall you eat unleavened bread. Even the first day you shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation, and in the 7th day there shall be an holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. And you shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. In the first month of the 14th day of the month at even you shall eat unleavened bread, until the 21st day of the month at even. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses, for whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. You shall eat nothing leavened. In all your habitations shall you eat unleavened bread. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel, and said unto them, Draw out and take you a lamb according to your families, and kill the Passover. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop, and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning. For the Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he seeth the blood upon the lintel on the two side posts, the Lord will pass over the door, and will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your houses to smite you. And you shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever. And it shall come to pass when you become to the land which the Lord will give you, according as he hath promised, that you shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass when your children shall say unto you, What mean ye by this service? That you shall say, It is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses. And the people bowed their head and worshipped. And the children of Israel went away and did as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass that at midnight the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants, and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead. And he called for Moses and Aaron by night, and said, Rise up, and get you forth from among my people, both ye and the children of Israel, and go serve the Lord as you have said. Also take your flocks and your herds as you have said, and be gone, and bless me also. And the Egyptians were urgent upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste, for they said, We be all dead men. And the people took their dough before it was leavened, their kneading troughs being bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such things as they required. And they spoiled the Egyptians. And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramesses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men, beside children. And a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds, even very much cattle. And they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they brought forth out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, because they were thrust out of Egypt and could not tarry, neither had they prepared for themselves any victual. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years. And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the selfsame day it came to pass, that all the hosts of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. It is a night to be much observed unto the Lord for bringing them out from the land of Egypt. This is that night of the Lord to be observed of all the children of Israel in their generations. And the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, This is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof, but every man's servant that is bought for money, when thou hast circumcised him, then shall he eat thereof. A foreigner and an hired servant shall not eat thereof. In one house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth aught of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall you break a bone thereof. All the congregation of Israel shall keep it. And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover of the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof. One law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you. Thus did all the children of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass the selfsame day that the Lord did bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their armies. Wow, tremendous things going on here. that was the end of the reading of Exodus chapter 12. So to recap, again, Moses has been given the instruction to perform this last rite of a passage, I would call it, before leaving Egypt. God gave him instructions that the children of Israel were to set aside a lamb without blemish, a male. This is something that God, throughout the ages of the children of Israel in the wilderness, and even after that, he always instructed them, your offerings, and even before, offering shall be a male, firstborn, male of the first year, without blemish. Don't give God your scraps, give him your best. And they shall be taken from the sheep or the goats. Those are clean animals, okay? No pigs. And they were supposed to keep that animal until the 14th day of the same month. And then they were supposed to kill it and take the blood using hyssop and post it to the sides of the lintels of the door, and also on the upper post of the door. And then they were to roast it and eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. I mean, God gave them specific instructions. And anybody deviating, they would be, their blood would be on their own head, literally. So you follow the instructions, okay? No medium rare meat. It was supposed to be well done. No sogginess in it, no water. And you roast it full, head and everything on it. Maybe just the innards would be out. And anything that remained the next morning, get rid of it, burn it. Don't leave it to be, to last out another day. And your shoes should be on your feet, and you're girded, your staff in your hand, you're ready to go. Because God knows when he did what he had to do next, they needed to be ready. And so it was. And that day, even today, the Jews, the physical Jews, are still keeping this Passover. This Passover was the Last Supper that Jesus kept with his disciples. We call it the Last Supper. It was nothing different. The Passover is what it was. So this is what Jesus kept with his disciples. We observe that Last Supper as our communion. As Christians, we call it communion. It's different from how the Jews would keep it. I'm sure they would do it more literally than that, as Jesus has it here. But a lot of Christian churches, because of their size, this was to be done house to house, in each house, or with your neighbor, depending on how many people were in each house. But now the churches are so large that people are not killing lambs, because Jesus was the last sacrifice, so we don't do that anymore. Nor sprinkle the blood, because Jesus shed his blood for everyone. We don't need to shed any more blood of animals or anyone else. So all we do is partake of the bread and the wine, as Jesus said. The wine symbolizes his blood, the bread symbolizes his body. And this is where it came from this Passover. God also told them that day they were leaving would be to them like the first month of the year. So the first day, the first month, like they would begin a new year from that day that he delivered them. And that, I believe, even today the Jews, physical Jews, have a calendar that is much different from us. I don't know. I think the month Abib, I'm not quite sure which is the first month, but it's different from the ones that the rest of the world uses. So roast the lamb or the goat, unleavened bread, and specific instructions as to what to do. And from then on, from that night, I think it was either late night or early morning that all of this is taking place, that they were supposed to be ready, be dressed. Okay, and that night, God did what he said he would do. He came in, and that angel, whoever, the angel of death, I think is who they say it was, came in and smote all of the firstborn. Cattle, every animal, every human, that was firstborn. Even from the prisoners in the jails. God wasn't playing. And I hear people today say, oh, what kind of God would I serve who would have people burn forever and ever? And we know what forever and ever means in the Bible. There are some things that would say forever and ever, meaning it will be lengthy. It ain't like you just throw like gasoline on something and it just burns, but it will stop burning at a certain time, because God will determine when it will stop burning. And people are trying to defend God. Oh no, God is not that. God is a God of vengeance. When he gets angry and he takes vengeance, we have a law that will take vengeance on people. They will put them in prison for how long. They would put them in the electric chair or whatever other punishments. And we feel that we are not supposed to give account for what we do. There has been some atrocities in this world, and we are saying that God is not going to repay. Do you think somebody who stole is going to burn as long as Hitler? Of course not. The times are going to be according to the deeds, and I believe that with all my heart. I mean, really and truly, God has many names. And God is also a God of fairness, of love, but he's also a God of vengeance. And this is one of the ways that God showed. He gave Pharaoh 9 chances prior to this, even with the serpent. And that's not included in the 10 plagues. But this one, he said, this is it. I will show Pharaoh who is God. I can take life and I can give life. God does both. God is God, and he doesn't need our permission to do anything. Nor does he need to give us any excuses, no apologies. We don't need that from God. We need to worship the God that we know and love him because we know he loves us. And this was just to show Pharaoh and all of those Egyptians that this is the God. All of those stone things that they were making there, those aren't real. I am the God that can do this and deliver my people too. So we saw that after that, the Egyptians said, hey, y'all get out of here. Take all this stuff, whatever you want, take. They gave them all their silver and gold and raiment and everything, and they told them to get out before everybody's dead. So that was how that ended. The children of Israel, after all of Jacob's family moved from Canaan into Egypt, they were there over 400 years. It says here, they dwelt in Egypt 430 years. So when they left, it was a huge group. They said here there were 600,000. I don't even know how they did counting back then. And they were just men, beside children. So I don't even know if they even bothered to count the women. That is a huge group from the 70. Remember, there were only 70 that left Canaan, and Joseph was already there. So he was not even counted. He was counted in that 70. To over 600,000, over 500,000 people. And they were a mixed multitude. You cannot stay in a place for 430 years and you just remain as was. You were the only set of people. No matter how much you try to stay to yourself. People mingle. That's how we are. We are humans. There's one race of people, and it's called humans. Okay? If you are a Christian, you believe we came from Adam and Eve. They were two people, man and woman, male and female. And here we have billions of people on the face of the earth now. And how many others have died? And we started with 2. Hey, who knows? God knows. So that was the end of that whole showdown. Now the children of Israel have been told to leave, and the same day they left, and now they are on to another episode of their lives. Everybody left, and God told them, if the stranger that is with thee, you have to be circumcised. Just like today, if we have people among us who would like to partake of the communion service, some churches earlier would say no, but now, if you believe that, God is Lord, I believe they allow you to partake. Even you don't have to belong to that specific denomination, but partaking of God's body and blood, emblems of God's body and blood, is for everyone, all who would be saved. And that is exactly how it was back there with the Passover. And today the physical Jews still celebrate the Passover, which, like I said, is what we do as Christians for communion, minus the lamb. That was already taken care of with Jesus. Wow, wonderful. What an account. So that's the end of the reading of Exodus chapter 12 and the recap. And I thank you all for listening. And I pray that you all have a wonderful day. It is beautiful outside, as you can see the brightness around me. There are no artificial lights on. And it's a beautiful sunny day. So I pray you all have a wonderful day and a blessed week ahead. Until our next reading, take care.